Well, when you're good at what you do, you go to the most exclusive places in your region. I go to the most exclusive places between Wollongong and Newcastle, right up to Port Stephens. This is Bayview, Sydney. You want to know how the other half live? You have no idea. Some of you can't even get out of bed. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. One thing that I'm not going to say is that women can't be faithful and build things with you to create a happy and healthy and intimate life, prosperous life. The other thing I can say to you is don't expect someone to be loyal if they choose not to be. Just because you think you are who you are and you have a personal sense of greatness about yourself, that doesn't mean that the partner that you have is going to see you the same way that you do if you don't perform. If you're becoming complacent, if you're resting on your laurels. For the last 3 decades, I've told people, don't rest on your laurels, don't rest on your laurels. And time and time again, I've seen people rest on their laurels only to end up shipwrecked, only to end up wondering what just happened to me. Too many people have stayed with alcohol, they've been faithful to drugs, they've been faithful to nicotine, they've ended up in hospitals, sitting outside a casualty with a drip in them, being intravenously fed nutrition outside the hospital, while people are going in wondering, why are you sitting there smoking? It's a contradiction. Now you say, well, you're just against smoking and people that take drugs and that. No, I'm against people that harm themselves when they don't need to. You want people to live. You want people to be the best version of themselves that they can be. You want them to be what God created them to be. And there's a dark side to all of this that wants people to die. It's not a game, it's not a joke. People die every day that shouldn't. Even the gardens, like, look, honestly. Let's just pan around at this beautiful mansion. Imagine the view from up there, overlooking one of the most spectacular pieces of scenery that you could possibly imagine here on the east coast of Australia. That's Pittwater. Spectacular. But many of you, when you do get out of bed, before your day even starts, you numb out your mind. You numb yourself from reality. Your reality is a fantasy. You're enmeshed with people that are no good to you. They're only going to bring you grief. They're wasting your time. You're wasting their time. It's all dysfunctional. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to lead anywhere. You're not building anything substantial. Possibly you don't know how to. All you've seen is dysfunction. Your parents have parentified you and enmeshed you and groomed you to be dysfunctional so that you're with them for the rest of your life. Might be time for some of you to become the black sheep and say, look, I don't agree with how this family functions. I don't agree with the values of this family relative to drugs, alcohol, nicotine, tablet taking, reckless sex, careless sex, the wreckage of relationships, abuse, emotional, physical and psychological abuse, vandalism. I don't want to be in this family anymore. It's weak. It doesn't provide anything that's going to be of any value in the long run. I want out. But the powers and principalities of darkness will want you to stay. They'll convince you to stay. Oh, please stay. They'll feign injury. They'll feign sickness to manipulate you into staying under the coercion, deliberate coercion of how these people think, feel and act. They need you there as supply, as support to prop them up in their weaknesses and insecurities and addictions. I mean, people don't want to be addicted and be dying all on their own. They'll take as many of people as they can with them. And many of you are just falling into the trap. You're just following along like a puppet. You become a puppet. You know in your mind that it's not right. You know in your mind that you're going to lose. That's why many of you run around going, I'm not worthy, I'm not this, I'm not that. But you are. You're just irresponsible and unaccountable for yourself. You chose the wrong road. You allowed your dark, sinful desires to take you down a path that misled you into harm. It robbed you. And many of you people have come across people, had people come into to your lives that have brought light, positivity, showed you that people can give, take, care and share and love and all the rest of it, and you've taken it for granted and you've squandered it. You've lost it. It's gone, slipped through your fingers like oil on a knife's edge. And many of you have run out of time. You might think you haven't, but you have. It's going to be all too hard. You're up to your neck in rent. Your drug addictions are costing you a fortune. Your nicotine. I've got a friend at the moment that's trying to be hypnotized. He's desperate out of nicotine because it's costing $400-500 a week. A week. Now you add drugs to that and all the other crap and rubbish that these people think are doing them good, and you're going nowhere. It's just a dead end. It ain't happening. And these people think it is. They live from desire to disaster, desire to disaster, desire to disaster, until one day they hit the ground and it's over. And good works and charity and all this thing ain't going to change who you really are. It ain't going to justify how you live. You are who you are, you live how you live, and that's all there is to it. If you're into drugs and alcohol and nicotine and all that, well, it tells you it's going to kill you. So what side are you on? Well, you say it's selfless, blah, blah. It's not. It is as selfish as you can get. Look at me kill myself. Look at me wreck myself. Support me, love me. I'm disabled. Crap. Crap, absolute crap. That's the new mental health narrative. It's costing taxpayers billions because lazy-ass people can't pull themselves together. Got mates that go to the gym, they've got all the big muscles and the little dick and the shriveled balls, and they can't even manage a relationship outside the one with their mother. Hopeless. Oh, Jace, can you, Jace, this and that. Get off the drugs, mate. Get off the shit. All one big mess going to the next, one after the other. And then someone that's got a bit of light on them will come along and they can't comprehend it. The darkness can't comprehend the light. And so what do? They go back into destruction. I'm going to wreck this, and then I'm going to blame the other person for leaving me. There's children interfering in private adult business. There's no boundaries. There's no direction. Parents are so enmeshed with their children, they don't know how to, whether they should be wiping each other's asses or not. And everybody seems to have an excuse for all the dysfunction and all the trouble and carnage that they're causing, instead of looking at themselves and saying, I'm making wrong choices on a daily basis. I'm going from destruction, micro-incremental destruction to micro-incremental destruction, and it's all my fault and it's all my choices, and the mess I'm leaving behind me is my responsibility. Nobody's saying that anymore. Oh no, the reason for this is this, and the depression and the anxiety is mine. It's not yours. There's no such thing as that being yours. Oh, I've got to own it. It's mine. I've got to, that justifies the drug habit that I've got that's actually giving it to me. That justifies the alcohol and the physical and psychological abuse I cause when I'm drunk. Oh, please pass me. Is there any cigarette butts in that ashtray that are worth smoking? I've seen people drink beer with cigarette butts in it at the bottom of the glass and nearly heaved and puked. That's how desperate these people become. They'll have sex with anything and anyone. If the mood's right and the timing's right. And you can't see all this on the surface. Some of you got about as much discernment as a bat in daylight. None. You can't see through your own ego. You can't see through your own addictions and desires. You're hopeless. And that's why you are where you are. You're absolutely hopeless. And there's no excuse, because you can turn it around right now. You can say, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this culture. I don't want to be a part of this lifestyle. There's a better way. You can actually do something about it for yourself now, instead of sitting on the fence and making excuses like the masses. Oh, there's an excuse for everything. I've got to have that. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. Oh, I'm going to masturbate. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. Oh, I wish I didn't go home with that person. Now I've got an STD, or that person's robbed me or hurt me. Some of you are so asleep and in such darkness that you don't even know which way to wipe your ass. And the devil's sitting there going, I don't need to deal with that person. They're doing a good enough job without my help. Don't need to worry about it. Just let them go. They'll do a good enough job without me. I've got other people I can deal with. And you're like someone on a battlefield without a weapon. You just got no weapons. You're just standing there getting chopped to bits. And that's your story. That's it. You hit the grave and nobody gives a shit. You've left nothing to no one except a mess. You've made out you're a martyr and you're nothing but a loser. But Jesus said he who loses his life will save it. But you lost your life in the wrong way. You lost your life for yourself. You didn't do anything for yourself. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. You will be given the privileges to work for people of the highest caliber if you live by the highest caliber yourself. Are you going to do it? Or are you just going to be another drugged out, nicotined up, self-justified loser? Ask yourself that question. Bye for now.